Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Tomb of Terrors. I'm your host, Old Man Brad. Whether you are new to the show or returning for another episode, thank you so much for giving me a listen. If you love the show, drop me a review over in your favorite podcast app or become a patron, patreon.com/oldmanbrad. Also, make sure you follow me on Letterboxd. Just look for Old Man Brad and you can see all of my sometimes questionable watches. All right, this week I have a movie that just played at FrightFest, another movie from FrightFest. It is getting ready to play at HorrorHound here in Cincinnati, and that is Super Happy Fun Clown. I also have an interview with the director, Patrick Rea. He is returning to the show. I'm excited for you to hear that interview. Talk a little bit about Super Happy Fun Clown. I'm gonna keep it spoiler free. I want you to go check it out if you have the chance in your area. If you are in Cincinnati, come out to HorrorHound Weekend, September 12th to the 14th, and you can see Super Happy Fun Clown. It is playing on the 13th at 9:45. Plus, it's HorrorHound Weekend. There's a ton, so much stuff going on. A lot of great movies are going to be playing there. A lot of awesome celebs. Come out. I'll be there. Before we dive full in to Super Happy Fun Clown, also happening in Cincinnati, third Friday of the month, every month, I host a horror screening, Frightful Fridays, at the Esquire Theater. And our screening for September, on September 19th, is The Evil Dead, the original movie from 1981. Come out. Let's watch this movie. I cannot wait to see it on a big screen. It's a 4K restoration of it. I'm super excited for this one. But come out, September 19th, 10 p.m. Let's watch a movie together. All right, let's dive into Super Happy Fun Clown. To escape a life of oppressed obscurity, a battered former wonderkind weaponizes her obsession with clowning, serial killers, and classic movie monsters into a night of shocking infamy. Written by Eric Winkler, directed by Patrick Rea, it stars Jennifer Seward, Nicole Hall, Matt Lisi, Deborah Maddock, Tim Shelburne, and others. Like I said, this just played at FrightFest. It had its world premiere at Panic Fest earlier this summer, and it just had an international premiere at FrightFest, and we'll be playing at HorrorHound Weekend at the HorrorHound Film Festival, September 13th. So if you are in the area, come out and see it. I'm telling you, HorrorHound Weekend. I'm not going to dive too much into the film before our interview. I'm just going to let you know this is an odd, bizarre, interesting film. It takes some turns and goes not fully dark into a few dark places, some hilarious moments, but I'll talk to you more about that on the other side. Let's go into my interview with Patrick Rea, and then I will talk to you after. My guest today has directed such films as Nailbiter, I Am Lisa, They Wait in the Dark, and The Night is Young. His new film, Super Happy Fun Clown, just played FrightFest in London and will be here in Cincinnati at HorrorHound very soon. I want to welcome Patrick Rea back to the show because you're a returning guest.
I am. I appreciate you having me back on. That means I must have done okay the last time. So
I'll give you a pass this time.
Okay, thank you.
Tell everybody a bit about Super Happy Fun Clown. Now, it started as a short film, and this is its feature.
That's correct. So we shot the short film actually in 2023 and the feature in 2023. So it was kind of a weird thing where basically there wasn't that much time between the short and the feature. So the short played, the writer gave me the script and it was there was no dialogue. So that's what kind of attracted me to it, is basically this female clown and she's dealing with the fact that her husband mistreats her, and finally she snaps and her life kind of improves from there. And so we played the short film at festivals like Panic Fest and Nightmares Film Festival and stuff like that. And it did very, very well. So then Eric, the writer, decided to expand it into a feature. So we started shooting that, in November of 2023. And, it's basically, I would best describe it as a psychological dark comedy horror film slasher movie. It's got but it's also, a killer clown movie as well. And again, I wasn't interested in doing a killer clown movie unless there was some sort of new or fresh perspective to the whole thing. And I like that it was a female antagonist or protagonist, depending how you look at it in the film. And it's very like female driven. And that's what kind of attracted me to it, which is the same with They Wait in the Dark and I Am Lisa. My movies generally have female leads. So that's, again, like we approached it as kind of a psychological thriller with a lot of embedded dark comedy in throughout, in which, again, like some of that was brought in on the spur of the moment while we were filming. Some of it was actually in the script, but it was definitely very collaborative when it came to kind of infusing some humor into this movie, because I don't think you can make a movie like this without it being kind of funny. And it's called Super Happy Fun Clown, not Super Happy Dark Depressed Clown. So we wanted to have a good time with it. And even though what she's doing in this movie is terrible, I mean, what the things that she's doing are heinous, but we wanted the movie to kind of wink at the audience a little bit too. So Eric describes it as a movie about a person who's not meeting expectations in her life, and the pressure that people feel from either their spouse or their parents, and kind of that thin line between, being famous and being infamous, like especially in this day and age with social media, a lot of the tragedies we've seen where people have gone on killing sprees and they have their little 15 minutes of fame because of it. So the movie kind of deals with those kind of ideas as well.
You mentioned female lead. Jennifer Seward plays Jeno, the clown,
yep.
And she played the clown in the short. She comes back for the feature. She's worked with you on other shorts and films. Was that like an immediate, we're doing a feature, you call her up right away? Hey, you want to come back?
Yeah, I mean, in this case, we were definitely like, the short was written for her. And so then when the feature was written, we just were like, okay, you're definitely playing the part. And several people have asked if she's actually taken clowning classes or something based off of her performance. And we're like, no, I think the short film was kind of her warm up. She kind of got used to playing the character, and we didn't have that much time between shooting the short and shooting the feature. It was all a pretty short period of time between. So she was still kind of in that mindset. But I thought she did a fantastic job. And, we've had some people ask us if there's a version of this movie that would be completely silent, because the short film was completely silent. And in the feature, she's only silent when she plays the clown. And of course, we never intended to have the movie be 100% silent. But maybe there's a director's cut version where we make it like a silent film with just music playing and title cards or something like that. But no, she fell right into the role and did an excellent job.
You just played at FrightFest in London over this past weekend.
It was Sunday. Yeah, it was this last Sunday.
How did that go?
It was great. I mean, it was the biggest theater I've played. This was my fourth film at FrightFest, and this was the biggest theater that I've screened in. So, which was a little surprising because I expected kind of a smaller theater. When I walked in, it was like huge. And so the audience seemed to really enjoy it. And so far our reviews have been mostly good. So that's good. We had a good turnout. I mean, the theater was almost full. I took my wife and my parents to London this time for the screening. So that was interesting. Got to take my parents around London for, this was my third time there, and there was their first time. So we took some tours and such. FrightFest is just an amazing festival, and really one of the bigger festivals I've ever screened at. And it's just a joy to be at it. So hopefully we keep, having our features premiere there.
One thing I do want to ask you about in the movie is the music. So this movie, it deals with a lot of, easy way to put it, it's bizarre in some ways, like what's real, what's not, what's she imagining, everything else. And the music very much deals with, sometimes it's disjointed, it's off key, it's everything else that kind of goes with that.
The whole score was meant to make people feel really on edge. And I think that was, for me, like, I think for this movie, I really wanted people to be not really 100% sure where it was going. I think that music kind of puts the audience on edge, and they're kind of feeling her insanity building, along with her. And I feel like the score, which is funny because like I keep comparing it to the score of Lethal Weapon with a little bit of the guitar riffing and stuff like that. I'm like, it's a little bit of Eric Clapton guitar in the movie. But yeah, no, it's interesting because the movie is probably one of the weirder movies I've made, and I think that's obviously a lot of that has to do with the visuals and the music, kind of the combination of the two. And I just definitely wanted to make sure that people kind of felt a sense of unease all the way through, even though and there's some times where people are like, am I supposed to laugh? Is it okay to laugh here? And that's okay. That's kind of what I wanted. It was just this sense of like unease, some dread, and then some like kind of like, you see her bedroom and it's filled with like serial killer pictures and stuff. And it's like, again, we were laughing hysterically while we were making it. So I'm okay with the audience laughing at that. That's kind of the intention.
And did you find any constraints or challenges as, you moved from the silent short film to a much bigger story?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always working with such a small budget, and so it's always like there's always these guardrails I'm kind of caught between while making a movie. And thankfully, it was written in a way that I knew that we could accomplish it. Like sometimes I think people will write scripts that are really intended for a much bigger budget, and they can't quite make it work because of that, based off the restraints of the budget. So here we were really like focused on making a movie that we knew we could accomplish, even though it has a lot of locations and doesn't have a small cast really either. I mean, there's a lot going on in it. In the finale of the movie, it takes place in a haunted house. When I read Eric's script, initially I was like, how are we going to do this? We can't afford to build these sets. So we were able to actually get in contact with a local haunted house that had all the different sections that we needed, for the movie to work. And so that was probably our biggest set piece for the movie. And so, we were working with such a small budget. So we had to kind of get creative. And that finale looks like we had a much bigger budget than we did. But, all the actors are local and the crew is all local. And so that does help as well, keeping it kind of a local film. That way people aren't traveling and we don't have to put up people in hotels. Everybody can go home and sleep at night. A lot of the films that we make in Kansas City, that's kind of like our game plan is to keep it local as much as possible so that we're able to really milk the budget that we have.
Working with such a indie filmmakers, it's smaller budget, the constraints, were there any scenes or time shooting where you're like, we have to either change some things, or when it came to the edit, like, oh, that turned out so much better than I thought?
I mean, we had a scene in particular with the mummy that, obviously we couldn't actually, in the script, he's on fire. And I was like, we can't do that. So we had to kind of figure out, we ended up having to hire, I don't like CGI. And I think that I tend to try to lean towards practical as much as possible. And that was probably our only really big CGI shot in the whole movie. And so we really, really focused on getting that right with our effects artist. And I think he did a good job. I mean, it's so hard. I always say CGI fire is one of the hardest things to pull off. And it's like, I don't know if it's really improved since the 90s. Like CGI fire is like, it's just an element that for whatever reason we can't recreate with computers. And so it's such a short shot in the movie. So he was able to really fine tune and make it work. But that was, I think, one of our biggest things where I was just like, we had the lighting set up so it was flickering like fire was bouncing off the walls in the scene. And then we just had to have the guy move around, and then we had to do the fire digitally, which again, you have to decide what's going to cost more, lighting the guy on fire and doing a stunt, which or doing it with CGI. And obviously we were inside an all wood building, so we weren't going to do the fire thing. So, those are the kind of things that when you're reading the script, you're like, okay, I have to figure out a way to do this in a way that's going to not destroy a set and hurt people, and find ways to do it. And I don't like CGI, for me, like CGI, if I could do everything practical, I would.
CGI fire and blood are tough.
It's really tough. And it's like, I think if you do things fast enough, people can't really tell as much. Definitely better to do things like that practically. I was very happy with the way that fire shot turned out, based off of how he had to do it.
Now, let me ask you: do you like clowns?
I do.
Okay.
It's funny enough. I have no problems with clowns. Stephen King's It, the 1990 Stephen King's It, was one of my favorites. When I was like 11 years old when that premiered on TV, and so I was pretty obsessed with it. I would make my sister watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space when it was on HBO in the early 90s and stuff like that. So I've never had a problem with clowns. I had never envisioned myself as a filmmaker making a clown horror movie, because I was kind of like, I don't know, it's been there, done that. It's not something that I was really excited about. But then I read the script, and then we made the short, and I'm like, okay, there is something here that we can do that's at least holds its own. It's not just a standard killer clown movie.
What do you hope audiences take away from Super Happy Fun Clown?
I hope that first of all, I hope they think it's weird as hell. I really, and uncomfortable. And I'm okay with that. Like not every movie I make is meant to make, I want to have some guttural reaction to it. It's not super gory, but there's some stuff in there that is disturbing enough that I think it might get some people talking. And I want people to have fun with it too. I think that it's kind of still maintains a level of camp that people can kind of have a good time with it. And it's not so painfully serious. Again, it's been compared a few times to Joker. And I'm like, that movie for me was way more, that movie is a lot darker than this one in my opinion. And same thing with like, they've compared it to Falling Down, which I think it was called Falling Clown in one of the reviews, which I love the movie Falling Down. And I can see why. You've got this person who snaps and you've got the police after them and stuff like that. And I'm actually surprised no one has compared it to Fade to Black, which is I think definitely a movie that you could compare this to. Fade to Black from, I think, 1980, which I've always liked. So but I think that the movie's got enough laughs in it that I think that people can kind of enjoy. And then there's some moments where they'll be quiet and they'll be like very uncomfortable. And I think that's okay.
I'm going to ask you, if you could describe this film in just one word, what would it be?
Oh, man. That's one of the hardest questions. I wish there was a word disturbing and funny at the same time. I mean, like, how do you put those words together? Uncomfortable. I don't know. I guess it's the only word I could, and it's okay. I mean, that was our intention. If you feel uncomfortable, but you can feel uncomfortable and still find it funny. And I think that's okay.
Just played FrightFest here in a couple weeks here in Cincinnati. It's going to be playing at HorrorHound Weekend at the film festival here in Cincinnati. What's next for Super Happy Fun Clown after that?
We're playing at Wreak Havoc, which is in North Carolina, or it's Wreak Havoc, I think is the name of the festival in North Carolina. And then we got into a screening in Minnesota. I think it's called the Minnesota Genre Exposition, something like that. And then we are looking at a release either at the end of the year or early next year we have a distributor, the Horror Collective, hoping that it'll be streaming by the end of the year. And we still have the movie entered in a bunch of film festivals that we haven't heard from yet. So
okay.
We premiered at Panic Fest, which was our world premiere, and then our international premiere was Fright Fest. So
now, where can people follow along to you, to the movie, to kind of see where it's at?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and so I think it's under Patrick M. Rea, REA. Find me on Instagram. Find me on Facebook. I'm also on, I think, Blue Sky and Twitter. I'm on all four. So I'm always posting where the movies are playing and what updates with any new projects that I have coming up that I'm working on. Yeah, just follow me on social media.
Patrick, I want to thank you for coming back on the show. I hope you'll come back again in the future.
I hope so as well.
And wish you all the best with Super Happy Fun Clown.
Thank you.
I want to thank Patrick once again for coming back on the show to chat with me. It was nice getting to catch up with him and chat about this film. And we chatted after about other things. See Super Happy Fun Clown if you get a chance. Like I said before we dove in the interview, this movie it's odd, it's bizarre, it's weird, it's off kilter. You have this woman played by Jennifer Seward who she has an abusive mother. She has a husband who doesn't really give a rat's ass about her, really. He sits around and watches Three Stooges on TV while he's eating food. She loves clowns. She loves serial killers. You know what? You know what mixes well? Clowns and serial killers, of course. She has this kind of a dead-end job almost. And one of the people she works with, she starts to connect with them. They kind of connect on this serial killer level. They crack jokes about what they would do with other people in the office. Then she's really into the clowns, the clown side of things. She was been obsessed with clowns since she was a kid. Her mom thinks it's stupid. She becomes a clown, Jeno the clown. And then ultimately, she snaps, starts killing people as Jeno the clown, all dressed up. I will tell you, I love the pieces where she is the clown because it is, even Patrick said it in the interview, there are parts where it's it feels uncomfortable in a way, but you want to laugh because she's a clown and she's just doing silly stuff. And you're like, okay, this scene right here seems like it should be more serious. I don't know if I should laugh. I don't know if I should be how I should feel. One of my favorite parts of this film, he talked about the haunted house scene towards the end. There is, the scene when she goes to a haunted house, and that's kind of the climax where all the shit hits the fan. I loved it. There was some good kills in it. I love some of the characters that we got in this scene. There's another scene at a party that kind of starts things off. Something happens that kind of surprises you that it happens. And then the spiral just kind of continues for her of this clown serial killer life. That's what we're going to say. A clown serial killer life. Overall, I enjoyed this film. It is an odd film. Starts out a little slow, kind of picks up, but I was interested in where she was going to go as her clown counterparts. Some of the characters, you're just like, man, I hope they get theirs. Guess you have to watch the movie to find out. If Super Happy Fun Clown plays near you, go check it out. Keep it on your radar. Put it on a watch list. Put it on your Letterboxd watch list, so that way it'll alert you when it drops on any streaming if you're waiting for that. This one gets a recommend from me. All right, on my way out, we're going to do a double feature because I like to do double features with movies I talk about. And my double feature with Super Happy Fun Clown is another clown movie called Stitches. This is a darker clown film where some kids play a trick on a clown and an accident happens. Some things happen to the clown. He seeks revenge and deaths happen, dark things happen, and it's Super Happy Fun Clown is a little on the lighter hearted side as to where Stitches might be a little darker. So they kind of a yin-yang clown double feature, if you will. But there you go. Stitches and Super Happy Fun Clown. Well, that will do it for this episode of Tomb of Terrors. Just make sure you subscribe to the show and you'll never miss any episode, whether it's my regular reviews versus Tales from Tubi, other series, whatever it might be. Just subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll be back soon with a brand new episode. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.